Legrand's amazing journey began decades ago when he was 16 years of age. He was caught spray painting graffiti on the wall of Yankee Stadium by New York Yankees owner George Steinbrenner. As fate would have it, Steinbrenner decided against putting Ray in jail and instead offered him a second chance, making him the bat boy for the greatest franchise in sports history. Ray was propelled into a dream job sharing the dugout with the Bronx Zoo team of the 70s. He became a positive influence in the fiery clubhouse and included manager Billy Martin, superstar Reggie Jackson, and the legendary Thurman Munson. And for the next 35 years plus and still going, Steinbrenner and Ray built a special relationship until George Steinbrenner passed away in 2010. Ray Legrand, welcome to Double Vision.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
Yeah, thank you very much. And we played that little Elvis track for you. Talk about why is that so meaningful for you?
In my life, the influences of my life have been Mahatma Gandhi, Martin Luther King, and I know that when King was killed in Memphis, the thing that really hurt Elvis Presley so much was the aspect that such a great leader who was ready to go to that next phase of what he wanted to give to society, to the world, and he was cut short in Elvis's own hometown. And, you need to know the true, and I've done my research more than most. Listen, I'm 61 years old, and I've been around the block a couple of times. And the one thing I love about Elvis Presley was the aspect that he continuously gave credit for his success to the black man. And the aspect of what he learned and the aspect of gospel, rhythm and blues, etc., 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 and never at that time never afraid to, in essence, be joint, as I would say, at the hip with the black man. And I can say that point blank because one of my very, very dear friends was James Brown, okay? And James Brown told me some wonderful stories about his relationship with Elvis Presley. And the aspect, I spent 4 years in Cleveland, like I told you the other day, studying the whole aspect of psychology from Charlie Marr, who was sports' greatest psychologist. And Cleveland is also the home of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Mr. Brown's people that worked for him, most of them lived in Cleveland. And Mr. Brown would come in, I would take him to the Cleveland Indians clubhouse, and I'm very respectful of James Brown, Mr. Brown, because of he commanded that respect. But yet he used to call Elvis Mr. Elvis. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And just it was very tearful because of society,
right? And
how society could be so nasty per se. And yet you're talking about the world's biggest entertainer for me, not Sinatra, who was great, who I knew, I had lunch with on many occasions, okay, but Elvis Presley. And I say that because Mr. Brown would say that Elvis was the best entertainer that he had seen. And I thought that was cool, and the respect, the thing that Mr. Brown loved was the respect that Elvis gave Mr. Brown. Okay, from 1950s on. And the other beautiful thing was the relationship that Elvis had with Mr. Excitement. Who was Mr. Excitement? You know who I'm talking about?
I'm trying to think here.
And someone that I did not meet.
Okay.
Again, a black singer from the 50s into the 60s. Who Jackie Wilson.
Okay, Jackie Wilson. Okay.
And again, as Mr. Brown would tell me, great relationship between Elvis and Jackie Wilson. And Elvis always said Jackie Wilson was the best entertainer that he had ever seen. And a friend of mine who worked with me with the Yankees ran the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and he showed me letters from Jackie Wilson to Elvis, Elvis to Jackie Wilson. I mean, beautiful admiration, respect, incredible.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? The aspect of how the world really should be, because of the whole aspect of the respect. And when Elvis died, Mr. Brown told me he was the first guy. It's never talked about. They never talk about it. He was the first guy at Graceland.
Oh.
Okay.
He was the first person after the news broke at Graceland. And he said he hollered like a baby.
Wow.
That's deep.
That's deep. We are talking to Ray Negron, who is a consultant for the New York Yankees. He has a wealth of knowledge. He's such a wonderful man. We just met recently. This is Double Vision. If you want to jump on board, please do it 631-888-8811 or 631-888-8812. And social media-wise, Darlene?
Yeah. Anybody who wants to reach out to us, you can tweet us live at Double Vision OA. We'd love to hear from you. Our website is doublevisiononair.com. Facebook page is Double Vision at 1240 a.m. WGBB. And, of course, you can call us in and watch us live. We're at AM 1240 WGBB.com, and you can stream. We're live streaming. We'll wave to the camera, everybody, and you can watch us all, and we hope to hear from you.
Well, Ray, it's a blessing to have you next to me, because the other day we had our class, the last minute, come in to hear your presentation, and you allowed them to come in, and it was wonderful. I saw the eye contact that you had with each and one of those students, not just Suffolk Community College students, but the kids from the Prosper program and Abilities and Smithtown East and West, and they were paying attention what you were saying, and you were well connected with them and everything that you said. So I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart taking the time. And on top of that, you were able to give them a free book and walk away with it. We did a whole lesson on you today. I'll tell you all about it after the show.
That's wonderful.
But before we get back into it, I want to take you back 40 years, all right? 40 years ago today. Let's kick it.
The time tunnel.
Wish we can go back.
Oh, what a World Series for Reggie Jackson. Goodbye. Oh, what a beam on his face. How can you blame him? He's answered the whole world.
Now, we go back 40 years because Reggie Jackson, not once, but not twice, but 3 times on 3 pitches, hit home runs to beat the Dodgers in the World Series in 1977. But you were part of that whole thing. Can you explain to our listeners that don't know a little bit about that story? Because it is fascinating.
Well, this was 1977, October 18th.
Yeah.
And it was just a magical day. Reggie had been with the Yankees. He got there that spring training. The season didn't start off well. He had to get acclimated to New York. Him and the manager, the great Billy Martin, who I loved with a passion, didn't see eye to eye. Reggie wanted to be the cleanup hitter on the team. He ended up hitting 5th because Chris Chambliss had just won the pennant for the Yankees the year before with that dramatic home run.
Which made me a Yankee fan forever.
You and a whole bunch of people.
I ran the streets. My mother was chasing me. Chris Chambliss hit, and they won the World Series, and they got swept against the Reds. But the World Series was Chris Chambliss right there. That was it.
Right, exactly. And so it was a tough year. And at one point, we got into Boston, and Reggie was playing right field. There was a base hit to right field. Reggie really didn't see the ball. They said he was loafing on the ball. Me knowing Reggie, I knew that he just really didn't see the ball right away, and then he went after it. Billy took it that he was loafing. He sent Paul Blair out to right field. It was rather embarrassing because, it was the game of the week, Saturday.
At Fenway.
You know what I'm saying? So, we're talking about a 40 million audience.
Right.
And Reggie comes running in, taking his glasses off. When he was taking his glasses off, I had been sitting next to Billy. I ran to the other side of the dugout because that meant that, hey, we're going to get it on right here. And the curse, between the curses and everything else, you embarrass me in front of 40 million people. I can't believe you did that to me, you mother. Anyway, I can't say the rest. And they went back and forth, and next thing you know, we had to break everything up in the dugout. I mean, the whole world saw that, and it was unbelievable. But by the time we got into September, things calmed down. Thurman Munson and Reggie became boys, and we got into the World Series, and the rest is history. And Reggie hit the 3 home runs. When he hit the first home run, I asked him to take a curtain call. He wouldn't take the curtain call because he said the fans don't deserve it. That's what he said, because the fans had turned against him, and they were naturally, they were Billy's guys. It was Billy's team before he got there.
The Yankee fans.
You know? And so, second home run, Reggie would take a curtain call now. That was great. No, I ain't doing it, so stop asking. So I said, well, if you hit a third home run, you will take a curtain call then, right? And he said, you're crazy, but I'll do it. And the third time up, first pitch, center field bleachers, and the rest is history. I went up to him, I said, as he started to sit down, I said, you promised you would do it. And so he just gave me a look like, okay, shut up and I'll do it. That was the look, you know what I'm saying? And so he went out and took it, liked it. After that, anytime he had a foul ball, he would take a curtain call. So,
but I was watching the tape. I made my class watch the tape because I wanted to show you had a nice mustache back then.
Right.
I had the same kind of mustache back then.
A Freddie Prinze, Tony Orlando type
there we
of
go.
look.
But you had the Yankee jacket on. You said something to Reggie, congratulate. Then you walked away.
I walked away.
And then you would probably remember,
Then it hit me. It hit me. Wait a minute, it's a curtain call.
And then I saw the little push, and he was out, and he did his thing. And that's the iconic encore of all time.
Right.
And
exactly.
you pushed him out.
Yeah. And you know what? And to his credit, whenever he does an interview about that game, he always says, when they said, Reggie, you took the curtain call only because Ray Negron pushed me. You know? So
there we go. Well, we're going to take some calls. We actually got someone, Mel from the Bronx. Mel, are you there, sir? Mel, are you there?
Hello, Mel.
I am here.
Hi, we have Ray Negron here in studio. Do you have any questions for Ray?
Yes.
Okay, go right ahead. He's right here.
Okay. Hey, Ray.
how are you?
I'm good. Ray, we met a few years back at a Boys and Girls Club conference, and I just want to tell you thank you for all you do on behalf of kids.
Always.
For writing books to encourage kids to read, because it's very, very important.
Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate the fact that you acknowledge me on that, and thank you so much.
Yeah, that's a big one. You know, we have to get our kids to understand that education is important.
Right.
But I wanted to get your thoughts on the Joe Girardi.
Of course, we're going Joe Girardi here.
What does the future hold for Yankee managers?
Well, you know, Joe's listen, I'm going to go just like everybody else. Joe's a great guy, wonderful dad, everything. You know what? He's a good man. In baseball, like I was just telling somebody from on another show, actually, this is not the Yankees reinventing the wheel, because there's a cycle that happens in baseball, and every few years you do have to change the manager, because the old saying was, you're hired to be fired, and it's easier to fire one guy than 25 guys. And at the end of the day, you know, the Yankees are getting ready to go into a whole different sphere. I mean, we're gonna win next year. It doesn't matter who's. Hey, you could run that team next year, okay? Because
I'm available.
Okay, good. Send it over to human resources.
Now that was too fast there, but you give him the old job.
I don't blame him. I don't blame him. You know, but now this is the time. Whereas, you know, baseball is going in a whole different direction. Okay, you're seeing it with a lot of different teams, including the New York Mets. Okay, and it's just the whole analytics thing and the whole aspect of how you run ball, and you know, the Dodgers are already doing it. The Houston Astros are already doing it. There's got to be a reason why they're the two men standing, you know. So it is what it is. I feel bad because I love Joe Girardi. I love his family, great people. But right now, the organization feels that they got to go in this direction in order to. It's about the team and it's about the fans, and that's what counts first.
Well, Mel, thank you so very much for calling. We'll keep your name here. We'll put your name in the Yankee hat for the manager, okay, buddy?
Okay, thank you, Steve.
Thanks for calling. I think we have another call on the line. We have Dave from Connecticut. Dave, are you there, sir? Dave, are you there, sir?
Yes.
Hi, we have Ray Negron in studio. What are your thoughts about, we just talked about Joe Girardi, but what are your thoughts about Ray Negron and his history with the Yankees?
Pretty fascinating. Pretty fascinating stuff. I think it's pretty unique if I remember the whole story correctly. I don't get the your station out where I'm traveling right now, but so I have missed the crux of the conversation. But I know Ray's history a little bit just from having been a Yankee fan for forever, for 50 years, I guess, for 45 years, whatever it's been. So it's a great story.
Well, we've been fans of the organizations pretty much at the same time. Thank you, bro.
Right. Yep, absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
Dave, what are your thoughts about Ray's story, in case people out there don't know about the graffiti writing on the wall, which could have got him arrested, but made it.
Well, listen, it's a great story about George Steinbrenner giving somebody, if I remember this whole story correctly, not only really a first chance, probably in Rays, if I'm not mistaken.
He gave me about 35 chances.
Yeah, no, that's really a great story, and I know it. A lot of times those things don't pan out. You take a flyer on somebody. Ray, in your case, it's worked out beautifully for both you and the Yankees. So good for both of you guys, and just goes to show you that there's sometimes people have you do the right thing. In the long run, it'll pay off.
Well, it wasn't so hard only because, like you, I love the Yankees so much and the whole history of the Yankees that, you know what, I really didn't want to mess anything up, so I wanted to be there. I didn't kiss nobody's butt, but I always wanted just to be a good soldier and do the best I could, but at the same time try to bring in as many of my people, and by that meaning the Yankee fan, into the fold to go there to work in whatever way they could, human resources, all that kind of stuff. And because it's everybody's dream to be a part of the Yankees, it's everybody's dream, and I get that, and that's why I know there's a God, because He took care of me back then when I have brothers and cousins who in essence ended up going to jail or getting killed, you name it, and then there was me. So why me? That's why I am forever grateful to George Steinbrenner, and I'm forever grateful to the Steinbrenners for keeping me on after the boss left.
Absolutely. Listen, it's worked out well for both of you guys. I know you've been a big part of the community service. They got you involved with many years ago, if I remember correctly.
Right.
So, great for you. I mean, again, a lot of people are given opportunities they don't know what to do with it, or they blow the opportunity. Not only have you taken advantage of it, you probably helped many people along the way from the community. So, some things are an absolute win-win, and clearly this is one of them.
Well, I thank you.
Well, Dave, thank you so very much. And who do you think the next manager of the Yankees is going to be?
I have no idea. This is one of those few times, right? I mean, this is so... I thought, even though there's been discussions about Girardi not coming back, I hadn't even given it any thought. I saw some of the odds today that Joe Espada was being talked about. Even Don Mattingly, I think they had a line at 12-1. I wouldn't mind seeing Donnie Baseball come back.
I would love it. I would love it.
That would kind of heal some of the wounds of those of us who are disappointed Joe won't be back.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking in the spirit of George Steinbrenner, maybe on opening day we announced that Joe Girardi is coming back in 2019.
Very good. Twist, Dave. You're a true Yankee fan, buddy. Yeah. Thank you so very much for calling into Double Vision and speaking with Ray today. God bless. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
So, Ray, tell everybody out there your relationship with the boss. You're the boss's bat boy. I mean, real quickly, what was your relationship? What does he mean to you and your family? You have children. You spoke to our children. That's what you do. You're helping out with the people back in Puerto Rico. There's so many things that you do. But why? How did George? What's your relationship with George?
Well, like I wrote in my last article, the two most important men in my baseball life were George Steinbrenner and Billy Martin. And because they made me feel like I was somebody. You understand what I'm saying? And, like, for instance, Billy Martin. When I was so down on myself, and I was, like, down on the aspect of, in the 70s, blacks and Hispanics were all one. We were all black. You understand? And at that time, if you look in the book and all that, I had a nice afro out there. I looked like Michael Jackson.
Yeah, you.
And so, in turn, I was a lot of the times very insecure because I felt I was in a white world. You understand what I'm saying? And did I belong there? And was I going to be accepted? All of these variables. And Billy Martin used to always read into me. And one day, he took me to a restaurant in the city called Patsy's.
Okay.
Okay? And I didn't know why he wanted to take me there, but he just did. You know, after one of my adventures of feeling down on me. And when we got there, he made me wait downstairs, and he went upstairs. And within like 10 or 15 minutes, the owner of the place, Joe, came and got me. He says, he looked at me like, "You're with Billy?" You know, like, who's this guy with the afro here with Billy Martin? You know what I'm saying? And so he took me upstairs, and when we went upstairs, Billy was sitting with Frank Sinatra and with Sammy Davis Jr.
Wow.
And a couple of other guys, some of Billy's guys. And by the time the dinner was over, I've always felt like, you know what, it's okay to feel that you belong. You understand what I'm saying? Because that was the one lesson that I took out of that dinner that day. Because he said to me, when Sammy was a kid, and I was the biggest star in the world, that's exactly how he said it. I was the biggest star in the world, and Sammy was a kid. And Sammy used to have this thing where he felt like even though he was the best entertainer in the world, he was feeling this insecurity about whether he really belonged or not, and that's why I took him under my wing. And he said, "Is it true or not, Smokey?" That's what he called him, Smokey. and Sammy, who was also, may I add, his mother was Puerto Rican. People don't know that.
Okay.
So Sammy could speak a little Spanish, and he told me in Spanish, "Eso es la verdad." That's the truth. Okay, and I ended up with a nice relationship with Sammy after that. And you know the funny thing about those two guys? I never got to see neither one of them perform live.
Really?
Never.
Wow.
But I would go see Sammy, like in spring training. Every year he would perform at the Sunrise Theater. And that's where we would have spring training in Fort Lauderdale. And so every year when he was there, we knew the hotel he was staying at, and the players on the team all knew that I was Sammy's friend. And like Dave Winfield came up to me one day and says, "They told me you're friends with Sammy. Well, could I meet him?" You know what I'm saying? And so it made me feel like a big shot, you know what I'm saying? And so here I am in a car full of Yankees going to see Sammy, you know? But I never got to see him perform. And he just because, you know what?
Timing.
It was the aspect, hey, I know him. I don't need to go to the wedding.
Right.
You know? And because of that lesson, and I really regret not have seen the two of them perform because they were great.
Right.
And so because of that lesson, I got to know Frankie Valli very well. And I love Frankie Valli. Love Frankie. And Frankie was idolized to this day. Hero worships Frank Sinatra like if he's still alive. Like he'll go like this. If he's talking about Frank Sinatra, he'll go like this. Yes, Frank Sinatra was. I'm saying, what is he looking at the? You know, and I'm over here. I'm getting all nervous. Wait a minute, what's going on here? But that's how he would talk about Sinatra. You know.
Wow.
And and you're talking about a guy who was 5'6".
Right.
He wasn't 6'2".
No.
Okay, but everybody like, yeah, watch out. You know.
And Darlene, you can talk about some of his books.
Yeah. So the 3 books. There's one out. That's one just down now. So you have Yankee Miracles, Life with the Boss.
Come on, if you're gonna say let's get it right, I got 5 books.
5.
All right?
I'm sorry, 5.
Come on now.
Yes, you're absolutely right. 5.
What's wrong with this lady over here?
The Boy of Steel, A Baseball Dream Come True.
That was my first one.
One Last Time, Goodbye to Yankee Stadium. Then the one with CeCe. No, I have that one.
CeCe's the first Christmas book, right?
That's right.
For Major League Baseball.
Right, baseball's first Christmas book. But you forgot.
What am I missing?
You're forgetting my my Jackie Robinson book. I did a book about Jackie Robinson and Babe Ruth.
Oh, wow.
Okay,
That's
it's
really
called
awful.
The Greatest Story Never Told.
The Greatest Story Never Told.
Okay.
I'm going to go back to the one, The Boy of Steel. Mm-hmm. So a lovely story about a boy with brain cancer.
Right.
However, he also was a bat boy. Michael Steele?
Well, you know what? It's that book is about a whole bunch of kids. It wasn't about one kid in particular. That just happened to be the name.
The name. But is there any reference to you in that character?
Just Just Ray the Bat Boy.
Ray the Bat Boy.
You know, that's so the aspect of Ray the Bat Boy reaching out to, in essence, extend his hand because of, you know, there are so many kids that deal with this thing. And these kids, they show such courage in the hospitals from the standpoint of what they're dealing with. And, you know, probably because of the youth, probably because of the fact that, you know what, when you're young like that, eventually I'm gonna get better.
That's right. It was his fight, his triumphant fight, the fight to, you know, to survive, and it was wonderful. And I saw the reviews from Reggie Jackson and the reviews from Darryl Strawberry, and Darryl Strawberry being a cancer survivor,
exactly. Two times,
yep. And just incredible, inspirational. All the books are incredible and inspirational.
Oh, thank you. But I love my Jackie Babe Ruth book the most because it's basically a true story. But it's weird how in society, when I wrote the book, there were certain things that were approved and there were certain things that were not approved because of the implication. You understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
And again, you know, that's just life. Things are getting better, but still, we still have a lot of, you know, we still have some stupid people who don't accept things for the way they are. I mean, it's like I said the other day, we are advancing in life from the standpoint, hey, and let me put it to you like this, both black and white. Yes. You understand? It's not the aspect, it's the aspect of all, because for me, I have, being Latin, and there are, and I come from a very bicultural family, because we have all in my family. Okay, my oldest son is half black. Okay, because my first wife was African American. You can't even say black anymore. You understand? Is the whole aspect of it, you know. But I don't care. I don't get into all that. I don't care about that. I care about that. We're people in general. You know what I'm saying? I say to my son, you got a problem with me saying? He said, Dad, it's BS. It's, you know, we are people first. That's all that matters.
Amen.
You know, and it is what it is. And that my second wife was Italian. You know, so my kids are Latin and Italian, you know, and to see them all together and the whole aspect of they love the whole scenario of what they are, because we're not half brothers, we're not step brothers, we are brothers. That's my brothers. These are my brothers, and they act, and the whole aspect of it is love. Love is the most important word in my life. Is the whole aspect of we as a people first.
That's true.
You know, that's the important thing.
That's true.
You must have amazing holiday dinners.
Wonderful. We all get together. I love that.
All different foods.
So I have a quick question. So we'll talk about it after, but somehow my husband was sitting somewhere and you had a meeting, and you walked in and kind of looked around and said to my husband, what, I can't use the word, but what am I doing here? And my husband kind of looked up and said, well, who are you? And so you started talking, you introduced yourself. His words to me were, ask Ray about Munson and his cheesies.
Well, Thurman Munson loved McDonald's hamburgers. Okay, and in those days, today, they have cooks. They have like all sorts of fancy cooks that cook for these guys because they're all millionaires now. You know, they're not millionaires, they're multi-millionaires, you know? So they have, but in those days, after the games, if the clubhouse guy had a pot with hot dogs in it, 2 packs of hot dogs, that was a big deal. Hey, what are we having what's the spread today? Ham and cheese? Nah, we're having hot dogs. Really? Great! You know, and I would walk in every day, Thurman Munson will be waiting for me, and it's the minute that I walked in, he'd go, Ray, 2 cheesies? You know, he had a very high-pitched voice like that. And so I would turn right around and run as fast as I could to the McDonald's across the street, and the guy would see me, blah, 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 threw me the thing, and I would run right back. Are they hot? Yeah, Thurman, they're very hot. Okay, let's go.
Well, we're talking to Ray Negron, and we're almost out of time. We want to get a couple of things in here. Ray, you're a member of the International Latino Hall of Fame and the Ted Williams Hall of Fame for his humanitarian efforts with children around the country. In 2007, the Department of Homeland Security honored you for your leadership in the Hispanic community and impact you have made on American society. What does that mean to you?
Wonderful.
that within itself doesn't really mean anything. It's nice, but it's just that I'm in a race against the clock. Okay, as are we all.
Right.
Okay, but it's life is so short. You know, like my favorite saying is, "Listen, John Wayne is dead."
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And by that I mean that names like Clark Gable and Elvis and John Wayne, that these guys are gone already, but yet they were names that were bigger than life. I mean, but it went too fast.
It goes fast.
And so in essence, if we don't do what we need to do to help make this world better, people say, what do you care? You won't be here.
Right.
Oh, I care because I'm going to have grandchildren and great-grandchildren and great-grandchildren that still have to live in this world.
Right.
So do I care? Yeah. That's why I'm a race against at the clock. And the other thing is, we better not forget, there is a God.
Yes.
There is a God, and He's looking down.
Yes,
and
sir.
at the end of the day, we're going to have to, in essence, sit down with the man, and He's going to say, hold up, let me look, and let me pull out your file. Oh, boy, 1974, you listen, you womanized a little bit too much,
Right.
and these drinks here with Sinatra were not too cool. I'm going to have to check with Dean about this. Yeah.
Well, we have a little segment that we pull out sometimes, Fire Away Friday. I'm going to give you I'm a psychologist. I'm going to give you a word, whatever comes to your mind first.
Okay.
You ready?
Go.
All right, family.
Love.
Puerto Rico.
Love.
George Steinbrenner.
Love.
Wow.
I see
Billy
a pattern
Martin.
here.
Love.
I see a pattern.
Graffiti.
Thank you.
Aw.
Thank you.
That's
Okay.
great.
Okay. The old Yankee Stadium.
Love it so much.
What do you miss about it?
The spirits.
Mm.
Does the new Yankee Stadium have that?
No.
Yeah. Yeah. Second chances.
Second chances, George Steinbrenner.
Okay. Billy Martin.
Love.
Your wife.
Incredible.
Why is she incredible at this point in your
Because she tolerates me.
life? Okay. You're tough to live with?
I'm tough.
Your children.
Incredible.
Tell us a little story about your children.
They've accepted my life. They always accepted my life.
Okay.
Because they knew that I belonged to the world.
Okay. One of my favorites, Phil Rizzuto.
Wonderful.
The scooter. You have a Phil Rizzuto story?
We be on the airplane. I'm a terrible flyer. I hate flying. And so when I was on a plane with the team one day, the players they know this about me. And one day they started saying, I think it was David Cohn and some of the other guys, Dwight Gooden and Strawberry. They all started saying, Ray, we're hitting turbulence. This plane's going to go down. Oh, God, I don't know if we're going to make it, Ray. I don't know if we're going to make it. I'm listening to this, and I would say, shut up, Ray, but it's the truth. And then all of a sudden the pilot goes, in 10 minutes, we will be facing turbulence, so please put on your seatbelt. And then all of a sudden Gooden goes, I told you, this is our last day. And I got up, and I ran to the front of the plane, and when I went, and the only seat available in the front of the plane was one next to Rizzuto. So I sat next to Rizzuto, and Rizzuto goes, Jesus Christ, holy cow, this plane may go down today, God. And I go, oh, Jesus, I'd rather be with those guys.
That was a pretty good Phil Rizzuto
Yeah, right?
impersonation.
Yeah.
That was good, the scooter. And one last thing, and we got a little gift for you, parting gift. Diversity.
A car?
No, not a car. It's a low budget here. Right?
Okay.
Diversity.
Need more love.
So you're all about love and giving it back.
The most important,
And answering to
powerful
God.
word in the world is love.
Yes, sir. Yes,
I
sir.
mean, if you ask, I tell you. I'm not going to throw it at you. I'm not going to try to convert you. I'm not going to do any of that because actions speak louder than words.
Right.
You
Yeah,
understand what
I
I'm
agree.
saying?
Yeah.
Period.
So on behalf of your Christmas book with Cece, how was that, first of all? How'd that come about, you and Cece?
You know what? I always wanted to do a Christmas story. And you know what? Cece looks like a black Santa Claus. Right?
Okay, yeah, okay.
Okay, and let me be correct. An African American Santa Claus.
Here we go. You already got it out there.
All right?
Could be.
You know, and,
Yeah.
and I say that wholeheartedly from the heart with a lot of love because Cece Sabathia is such a lovely, lovely individual. He really is. I mean, incredible.
Yeah.
He would have been great with those Yankee teams of that era.
You think he's coming back?
I think that they're going to make every effort to bring him back.
Okay. Well, because it's the first Christmas baseball book, and Christmas is right around the corner, Darlene and I, for Double Vision, we have this little nutcracker here that we want to give to you.
Oh, my
so
God.
for Christmas.
That's awesome.
But I added something because I was thinking back in that 1977 video, I put this little mustache on. So now...
and this is an afro.
And that's the afro.
Okay.
There we go. So it's all yours, buddy.
I love it. Hey, for everybody out there, it's beautiful. It really is, and this will be with my trophies forever. Thank you so much.
There you go. Ray Negron, thank you so very much, man. God bless.
Oh, this has been fun. This has been fun.
And we hope you come back, and hopefully we can work together in the future.
Hey, and so that you guys know, because I do a show on ESPN Radio on Saturdays and Sundays.
Newsmax.com, what is that?
That's a column that I write.
That's a column, and NewYorkSportsDay.com.
New York Sports Day.
Okay, you're still doing that?
Yes, I still do that.
Okay.
But just so you guys know, because I'm looking at your producer right now,
Trevor.
I want to let the fans know that as I was walking in, the producer was beating our host Steve's butt. I mean, beat his butt. And you know what? Just so you guys know, I go through the same thing with my producer all the time. So it's all good. I felt very comfortable.
Nothing but love, Trevor.
Hey,
Nothing but love.
Do I owe you dinner, Ray?
If you can't be that way, the show ain't gonna work. You know?
There we go. Ray Negron, how can people get a hold of you real quick?
What is it? Batboyhelps.com.
There we go.
Very nice. Okay.
You are a pleasure, and God bless your efforts and everything. And
great show. I love this show. This was wonderful.
Thank you very much. So you'll come back.
I will definitely come back when I got real news to report, like the Girardi thing.
There we go. There we go. All right, Ray Negron. We're going to take a quick break, and we. All right, we are back here in Double Vision, WGBB 1240 AM or 95.9. If you want to join this love train here, please do it 631-888-8811 or 631-888-8812. That is Marvin Gaye, Darlene.
That sure is.
Yeah, the amazing Marvin Gaye.
My heart, my blood is pumping after hearing that. I'm ready to just.
There we go. You were dancing around, and our special guest Archie Snowden was dancing around, but he came up with that song. What's the story behind that?
It's a spiritual song.
Uh-huh.
It's Marvin Gaye. If you listen to the words, listen to the first verse of that. He's talking about what's going on in the world. What can we do? What's going on? Government kickbacks, moms in trouble. Do we have to keep going, or do we have to figure out what's going on?
Right.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah, so that's what it's all about.
And Marvin Gaye lived a life, unbelievable musical talent, but he was an advocate in his own right.
Yes.
And unfortunately, he came to his early death. And but his message and songs is so meaningful today.
Yeah, you try to get younger people to realize that not only was he a great vocalist and had some great musicians behind him, but the vocals meant something.
Right.
The words always meant something in each and one of his words, each and one of his songs. Let's Get It On obviously means something to most of us here, but always meant something. Always.
Right. Now, your profession, you like to tell stories or other people's stories. Talk about your journey a little bit. I know you born and raised in Amityville, and you went to Brentwood and Central Islip, and currently you're on Push Pause on Fios One since 2013, and you've covered and produced over 200 segments since that time. What gives you the passion to do what you do?
First of all, the almighty dollar. So you can earn a living, right?
Go.
First and foremost, in this trying times, right? You want to be able to hold on to a job and do it well. If you don't do it well, you're not able to hold on to a job. But it depends on your news genre. If you're going to do stories on a magazine show like that, news genre, and when you go to work somewhere as a journalist, the first thing they ask you is, what's your genre? What's your philosophy? Is it sports? If you're doing news, is it front page stuff, which is the first 5 stories we see on the news, which is always bad stories.
Right.
It's going to be bad news. Period. Right. That's what gets our viewers ever since 1950 when
it's intriguing.
Right. So my news genre was always community involvement, people involvement in the community. So that's what gives me the drive each and every day. And there's stories every day, everywhere.
So how important are those stories to come to light, to share those stories with other people?
You mean how
important is that for people to hear these stories?
You know what? I consider this area, especially that we live in, and we've had this conversation before about hidden gems, people who are doing things that we don't know about. And the environment that I grew up in, I experienced a lot of different things in my life. My mother raising practically alone by herself 5 boys. I've witnessed a lot of things growing up in Amityville and graduating high school in Central High School. It's just things that you witness out there, people doing good things for people who are not so, in the areas that they really need the help is the driving force.
Right. What I love about your segments on Push Pause is your segments are heartwarming. You're empathetic. You are easy to talk to, easy to relate. And there were wonderful stories that I was looking up and researching and that I've seen just by watching your show. And one in particular was about a military hero and his companion, a former serviceman who suffers from Glenn Moody, right, who suffers from PTSD, post-traumatic syndrome disease, and he was giving a service dog, and with the help of the Patriotic Service Dog Foundation, and he just opened up. And it is a craft. You can go to school, you can learn journalism, but it's a craft for people to, for you to do what you do for these people and to show us who they really are.
It was trying, Darlene. It was trying to get some information out of him. And I was forewarned by his family that he doesn't really like to talk about it because he's trying to get rid of this situation. He's trying to, he's got the dog from the generous people at Patriotic Service Dog Foundation in California. They trained the dog specifically for his condition. Did not want to talk about it. He wants to steer clear of it. So a half hour before I put the camera on, we had an intimate conversation about how we were raised, the environment we were raised up, why he went over to Iraq, 2 tours of duty in Iraq, and what was the meaning of being there, and who he's defending, and kind of loosen him up and get involved in it. And he was magical. The stuff that he was saying in that story was related to so many individuals who've been over there.
Yeah, but it's you. You bring this to people. You bring this out in the best in people, and that's what makes you so phenomenal, and that's what makes you an award-winning journalist. Sorry, I had a brain freeze there. I'm so sorry. That was like a really
thank you. It means a lot.
Yes, but it's true.
And Archie, you've won 5 Media Council Awards, 1 New York Emmy Award, 1 DuPont Award from Columbia University, and 3 Emmy nominations. That's an amazing career.
Thank you.
Talk about what those awards mean to you and the hard work that you put into it.
The recognition. You know what I like best about the recognition is it comes from your peers. These are media folks, voting on media folks. Some of the stories that they've seen, some of them admittingly, were crying. Because not only are they're what is called long form stories, where if it's more than 5 minutes, it's considered long form, and they're short documentaries. So the greatest thing about it is, other media peers, and you work just like you, Stephen. And, Darlene, you work hard in this industry. You want to be recognized by people who do what you do.
Right.
And people who don't have your news philosophy that I spoke about earlier in mind.
Right.
Now they get what that philosophy is all about when they see the story. So that's what's more satisfying.
And you're all over the place because it's funny because that whole thing of chicken and the egg. Because lately, because of this show and the radio work that I've been doing, I've been all over the place too. And I see, wow, Archie's there, Archie's here. And I try to figure out which come first, Archie or me. But you cover everything, and your relationship, your relationship with the community and everybody that you're working with comes through each and every time. Those relationships are important to you, right?
Yes, absolutely. I always tell my students as a teacher to not only are you cultivating the context for a story, but create the relationship and maintain that relationship. Do whatever you can. Be the yes or no person when it comes to that relationship.
And you were just a guest speaker at the Woodward School.
Yes.
And I believe you were quoted as saying, "I truly believe if you possess a valuable skill, teach it to others."
Absolutely.
Can you elaborate on that?
If you know how to pot up a mic, if you know how to host a radio show, and you maintain that consistency for as long as you have, teach it to someone. Right. There are so many children. When I say teach, who are we talking about? We're talking about our kids, right?
Right, our future.
They're looking for something to do.
Right.
Regardless of where they're going with each other, they're still all searching for life. So I believe that in my family, I've come from a family of teachers. Educate them. That's what I meant by that.
Right.
Well, I think it's fantastic, and it's true. You are you have a solid reputation for instructing students and teaching them all these lovely things about your craft. So they're very lucky to have you. They're very lucky to have you doing that.
Well, we have Debbie from Floral Park. Debbie, what's your vision here in Double Vision? We have Archie Snowden in studio. Debbie, you there? Yeah. Hello, Debbie, are you there?
Yes, hi, how are you?
Hi, thank you for calling into Double Vision. We have Archie Snowden. I understand that you guys know each other.
Yes, hi, Archie, how are you?
Hello, Debbie.
Talk about, Debbie, how you guys know each other.
Archie had done an interview with me and my son Kyle last year, just before one of our fundraisers, in regards to getting people hearing aids.
And how was that experience for you, the show and Archie's work with you and your family?
Oh, he made it so easy. He was very easy to talk to. He made us feel very comfortable. I was nervous going in, but no, he made us feel very comfortable. But I think what impressed me the most was that when we told him that my son was very interested in becoming a cameraman, he stopped what we were doing, and he actually started giving my son some lessons on lighting and how to hold the camera and what to do. So it was a really good experience all around for both of us.
That doesn't surprise me, Debbie.
Wow.
How did your son do?
He did good. He enjoyed so much what Archie taught him that he signed up and is going to be one of Archie's students starting next month at the Connecticut School of
Check
Broadcasting.
that out.
That's amazing.
I did not know that, Debbie.
Yes, yep, he signed up. He'll be starting November 14th. He's going to be doing the night classes there, so you'll be seeing quite a bit of them.
We
Kyle.
didn't know. What is
Kyle,
that
yes,
you're doing?
Kyle.
I teach them broadcasting, camera operation, control room operation, storytelling, just like I teach them the same things that I do on a regular basis as a one-man band where you're writing, shooting, and you're editing. Wait a second. We've had this conversation. I remember Kyle coming to the school, or Debbie coming to the school. Did Kyle come with you that day?
He did, yes,
Okay.
he did.
He came to the school, and I thought I'd never see him again. I said, well, here's another one of my favorite people. I will probably never see him in the school again, and here we go. Can't wait to see him now.
Oh, that's
Here we
wonderful.
go, yeah.
That's wonderful. You're so inspirational.
Well, Debbie, I know you.
Okay.
Thank you so very much. And real quick, I know you have an event coming up. Please share that real quick.
Yep, we had November 18th at the Plattdeutsch in Franklin Square. We are holding a fundraiser to raise money to get kids in need hearing aids.
And how can people get tickets, or if they want to support you?
They can go to our Facebook page, Showcase of Musical Talent, to benefit the Olive Osmond Hearing Fund.
Well, Debbie Mayford, thank you so very much.
you,
and
Debbie.
Archie, you'll be seeing her son.
I'll be seeing her on the 18th as well, Debbie.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
Steve is going to be there as well, Archie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
looking
Double
right.
forward
Vision's
to
going to
it.
be there. We're all going to be there. We're going to bring this whole gig up over to
Check it
Franklin
out.
Are
Square.
we going to be there?
I'm going to be there.
Oh.
And we're going to be there.
Can I be there?
You can be there. We're both going to be there.
Wow.
Debbie,
See you there, Debbie.
thank you so very much, Debbie. Good luck with your efforts, and we can't wait to see you in a couple of weeks.
Great, thank
Good
you. I'll
luck.
see you all then.
Thank you
Thank
for calling in.
So, Archie, what does that mean to you when you hear someone's son or daughter connect with you in that way? You just talked about it a few minutes ago.
I'm quivering, right? I mean,
Aw.
Kyle, who needed a hearing aid, and the Olive Osmond Fund and the monies that they give towards that and the research of that, he's the prototypical kid he's the poster child.
Right.
All right, for what should, the results of that fundraising. And it was easy to do that story because he's just, if he didn't have the funding and he didn't have the hearing aids that he had, he wouldn't be able to do broadcasting, man. It's fantastic.
That's amazing.
That's what
well,
it's all
these calls keep coming in here. We have Debbie on the line. Debbie, are you there? Debbie,
Debbie?
Yes.
Hi, Debbie.
how are you? Welcome to Double Vision, Darlene and myself. And
Thank you so much for having me. This is very exciting.
thank you so very much. And we have Archie Snowden here. Talk about how you know Archie.
Oh, hi, Archie. How are you?
Hello, Debbie.
Well, I must say, Archie found us through, Facebook. We have a big following on Facebook, and he reached out because he felt that he would like to help spread awareness and shed some light on Nico's disease. My son, as you all know, has been battling for 20 years, and he has an unknown disease, and he doesn't have, heart disease, he doesn't have cancer, doesn't have leukemia, where there's so much exposure and so much light shed on all these unfortunate, children's diseases. And then Archie came along, and he shed light on our story and our struggle, that there's no other way other than having someone like Archie come and help us get our story out there and have everyone hear Nico fight. So, Archie, I must say, you were amazing because you captured moments that no one could ever see unless you were there, and no one would ever even hear it unless you were there. So I have to thank you so much for that.
Thank you for having me in, Debbie. I can't even express the gratitude. And thank you for having me there. I mean, to see the fight in you for your child is just.
Well, you know what? I don't think any mother in this world would not fight for their child. And it's just, for me, it's a daily struggle. And we want our story and Nicholas' fight to have been heard. And you did an amazing job at doing that, because there are moments that no one, like I said, would ever see until you came along and you let them see what we deal with every day. And maybe it might change people's lives. I think we've done it already, and your story got out there, and thousands of people viewed it, and people are now, calling in and after your story and telling me that they are somehow, some way changing their lives because of that story. So I must say thank you for that.
Fantastic. That's what it's all about, Debbie. Especially with the fight with Nico, people should know what he's going through in the plight that you have to get him to where he's supposed to be.
And go ahead, Debbie.
No, I just wanted to say that, it's joining Nico's army, and that's what we built for him. And it's what we need, because it's all about purpose, and you help to get that purpose out there, what we need for him. And Nico's army comes so strong for him when we need them, I should say. And, again, even Darlene and Steve, reaching out to us and, again, spreading, awareness and shedding light on his story, because I couldn't do it any other way. So I thank you all for being a part of Nico's army.
You're very welcome.
Well, Debbie, you're amazing. Say hello to Nico for us. And
I certainly will.
Thank you for spending a few moments with Archie. This is WGBB 1240M Double Vision. If you want to join in, please do it 631-888-8811 or 631-888-8812. I think we have another caller on the line. Archie, I think you can take over our show here. Are you there, sir?
I am.
Who is this, may I ask?
This is Arthur Lee from LifeVac.
Arthur Lee from LifeVac. So how do you know Archie?
Oh, my God. Well, when I heard he was going to be on, I wanted to call in just because Archie is a great guy and a good man, He did a segment on us a while back, and kind of the quantifiable point is, since that show with him, we've gone on to save 8 lives.
Wow.
So, Archie, I just want to tell you, your heart, your soul, your dedication is appreciated and quantifiably helped save 8 people so far, buddy.
Oh, that's amazing.
We Arthur, the thing that you created, and it's good to hear from you. I haven't heard from you since that story other than your post. And to do that, to save people's lives from choking, children with that device. I mean, I have it. It's next to my TV in the bedroom.
That's good to hear. Man.
That's where it's going to be. It's an amazing device, and choking. Who chokes?
Right.
Everybody,
right?
Regular basis.
Yeah.
And it's amazing what you've created, man. And if I had to do that all over again, I'd do it the same way.
Yeah. Well, the reason I just wanted to kind of tell you how much I appreciate you and the fact that, it's not just your expertise in the media, it's your heart and soul that you put into it. And in this case, you took a guy and you said, hey, this is a good thing, it's a good guy, and we're on to 8, we're on to 1,000, we're on to 1,000,000, but you'll always be with me, you'll always be a part of it. And I just wanted to take the chance to tell you I admire you and I appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
Yeah, no worries, buddy.
Arthur, thank you so very much, and I know you're on this crusade to saving lives with LifeVac, and I'm sure we'll have you on the show real soon. God bless you.
All right, that'd be great. Thanks, Arch. Thanks.
God bless you. Thank you, Arthur.
See you, boys.
Archie, when you hear these stories come back to you, it must be humbling.
To say the least.
Right.
It's these people are doing great things, whether it's an individual thing that they're doing or doing it to save millions of lives. That's what it's about. It's about what they're doing in their home, in the background and fight of everything else that's happening to save a bunch of lives.
And it's you have these heartwarming stories that touch not only my life and their lives, but everyone's out there, and you show the struggles of all these families. And I think I saw a segment, and if anybody would like to see these segments, they're on YouTube, I believe, correct?
Yes.
And the Push Pause, you can see a lot of these wonderful segments, stories, Man in the Mirror, about communities in need. It's just, again, your storytelling and letting people bringing the awareness of all these wonderful stories that people are either trying to save lives or even with Debbie trying to find a donor to save her son's life and, LifeVac. I mean, these things you're truly gifted to get these stories out there and showing everybody and giving it to the world. I mean, I love hearing about your youth stories. Love hearing about these children that you're working with. And I believe that is something called Empower a Life Every Day.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, first of all, go back to Heath Broughton and Marion and Mira.
Okay.
Here's a gentleman who, as a guidance counselor, as a former administrator, as a guidance counselor, he went back to his neighborhood because he saw where a need was. Here he is, 20, 30 years after school, after he finished school, went back to his old neighborhood in Wyandanch to rescue kids. Wow. If he wasn't supplanted in that community, and here's one of those hidden people, if he wasn't supplanted in that community, I guarantee you there would be, more of what we don't want to hear. Right. I guarantee you. Right. And, the Empower Your Life, Empower Your Community network is a network that I created to post these stories of these great people that you're hearing about. They're the push pause stories, and there are also new stories being created about these people. And we're gonna launch an Empower Your Life Every Day show, a web show. It's going to post on Facebook. It's going to post on YouTube. And this is a continuation of what was done at Push Pause. You've got to continue these stories somewhere. And there won't be a delay in airing these stories. These stories will air every week, and you can go on the Empower Your Community network that we were discussing, Darlene.
Yes.
And you can see those great stories, including the one with Heath Broughton and everyone else.
And Jamal Hudson.
Yes.
Yes, and it's developing young people, making their minds stronger. Let's see what else. It's I like how Jamal, when I was watching, it was the incredible segment with the STEM system with these children, and it's so true. You have to. He's a beautiful medium. Your beautiful mediums to bring these children together to make their world. To give them a chance in the world. And I loved he used the word edutainer.
Edutainer.
No.
He's an entertainer.
Edutainer.
Right, he did say that.
Right,
he did.
And it was, to me, it stuck out. It was an educator and a trainer for these children. Yeah. And that was like, it was just, the way that word came together was just, it said it all. Edutainer.
How do you like him using his gifts of music? Did you see the beginning of it?
Yes, I did.
He's jumping while he's tap dancing. He's doing flips on the floor.
Did a back flip. That's correct.
And he's playing the piano. He's singing. He's playing the rock guitar like the great Chuck Berry or Eddie Van Halen. He's doing all of this stuff, and he's using that to engage children, so he can start teaching them.
That's right. Because
fantastic.
That's how you have to find a way, like you said, to get to them.
Engage them.
Engage them.
Right.
It's beautiful.
And empower them.
Stuff.
That's what you're all about.
Absolutely.
If there are young people out there, because you're all about young people, what message would you give to them? Sometimes this world, you get caught up in negativity in it. And I think people like yourself, amazing work that you do, bring up that positivity. What message would you give to young people out there if they're struggling with anything at this point?
Find your strength. You can take what you love to do, whether it's, and most of our young people love to rap, but they're looking for the big deal, the big pie. Take that and use that. Try and use that in a positive way. Listen to people who have been there to where you want to go. And that's the only way we're going to help them. That's what empowerment is all about, right? Take the skills that you have, listen to generations prior to you in what they've done in that genre, in that area of concentration. Listen. Pay attention. That's how we have got where we were. The problem is there may be a lack of focus with the people they're trying to follow. All right, so they may need but you have to find something. Young people have to find someone in their area of concentration that they can really grasp onto. Everybody wants to do something, whether you're 10 years old, 25 years old, or anywhere in between. They need someone to empower them to do that. Find that empowerment source.
So you never rest. I could see you going from one story to another, bringing on these people along the way. What are your sights set for 2018 and beyond?
You know what, Stephen, to keep doing what I'm doing. All right, to highlight people like yourselves in this great program. I just want to expose the hidden gems. If we were all together in one room, and there is something about people in Suffolk County that don't know what's going on in Nassau County. You need to put these people in one place. They need to be in one place. There are people in Suffolk County who have written books. I know there's a healthy living expert named Margaret Marshall. Don't know if you're familiar with him. If they're not, you should check out her story. If we listen to Margaret Marshall and all the, and through her education and through her, traveling all over the world and doing public speaking, through her education, through healthy living, if we listen to her and we listen to her spots that I've done, her radio segments, and read her books, then we'd all be healthy.
Right.
But she needs a reach.
The platform.
She needs that platform.
That's
she needs
right.
to. So where do we get Margaret Marshall out there? So we're going to continue to get her out there on the Empower Your Life network and Empower Your Community network. That's what we're going to do. That's what it's all about. Just one more.
Sure.
Verdell Jones she's an educator, and she's been educating for a very long time. She's written a book called The Parent Agent, just based on her experience in getting her own kids into college. How many families need, guidance, necessary guidance to get their kids into school? Oh, I don't have the money. My son has bad grades. There are things you can do to get him to where he's supposed to do so he can empower himself to go further.
Right.
All right. These are hidden gems like that. We need to just get into one room and talk about these things.
Right.
So we have regular community meetings. We've done them in the past. Some of these people are already working together, but it's going to get stronger with the Empower Your Life network. It's going to get stronger.
Okay. And what's the most rewarding aspect of what you do and the most challenging aspect at this point in your life?
The most challenging, getting everybody together.
Right.
The most rewarding is seeing everybody together.
Gotcha. That is amazing. And talk about your creativity with Push Pause and their support of you and your efforts over the last couple of years.
If you find or establish yourself with your news philosophy, then you're going to get support for it. If you it doesn't matter what it is. If you're good at what you do and you get some, and let other people tell you how good you are, they're not going to ignore that. I don't care whether it's Push Pause or anyone else, they're not going to ignore that.
Right. Right.
I know when you first started out in your journalism career, you were a sports show. We had a sports show, and it was called Sports Profiles.
Yes.
Do you miss it?
I do.
You do?
I do, but I'm a sports aficionado. There's sports fans and there's aficionados, right? Aficionados collect, and he's shaking his head, you know what I'm talking about. Aficionados collect stats, all right?
Okay.
Although I don't play, do the fantasy thing.
Yeah.
Because I like to watch my teams kick butt, right? And go Yankees, right?
I wouldn't go there because the game is on in a couple hours.
I was going to say that. What do you think about the Yankees? But I didn't.
Well,
okay.
What do I think? My goodness.
They're going to take it tonight, right?
I'm sorry. I got to support my New York team. Sorry, Met fans. And Met fans think that the Yankees are the biggest threat. No, it's the people in their division that the Mets play regularly are the biggest threat. But the Yankees, let them do what they do. This is what they do. This is what they regularly do. So Sports Profiles is where I started.
Right.
I started in the sports industry. I was working for the MSG Network. I worked for SNY for a minute, and locally I had a show about, I have a show called Boxing Profiles where I got a chance to interview people like Mike Tyson and Riddick Bowe and Oscar De La Hoya and people like that. So that, of course, I missed that.
Yes.
But to be able to translate it and transition over to what I'm doing now is just as rewarding. I get to watch the games anyway.
That's true.
Right.
So
it's interesting how you're still giving back. It's a fascinating career. You're very lucky, very blessed.
Yeah, we're blessed to have you here as a friend and a mentor to myself. You've been so helpful to me personally over the years that I just want to thank you. And I was so excited that you were going to come on the show today because you do so much outstanding work. And when Darlene and I were talking, and for the people calling in, that's how I feel. You took on, there's a person out there, Joe Solanic, I know we're running out of time, who's from Abilities, and he wanted to call in, but he's playing hockey. Talk about Joe and Abilities a little bit real quick.
I was introduced to the Henry Viscardi School and Abilities by Joe. I met Joe while I was doing a story for MSG Varsity. I went and I covered the basketball game that he does regularly with the students, the wheelchair basketball game. And in talking to him and seeing the spirit that he has in putting that together, I latched on to Joe right away. I latched on to the school. I latched on to Abilities immediately. Right. Just on what Joe does. He's all over the place. He's surfing. He's marathoning. He's doing all kinds of things, and he cannot walk.
Right, he's in a wheelchair.
My goodness. Come on, Joe. And he's a personality. I heard him on the radio. I heard him on your show.
Yep.
I mean, what are you doing now, Joe?
He's playing ice hockey.
And he's out playing hockey. So, he doesn't have the use of his legs.
Right.
We do.
Right.
Okay, just look at us, compare us. Joe, go Joe. That's all I say.
Right. So, Archie, how can people get a hold of you? What show? How can they watch your show? Where can they do all this stuff?
We're going to launch the Empower excuse me, let me rephrase that. I'm thinking about the show, the Empower Your Life Everyday Show. We're going to launch that in conjunction with the Empower Your Community Network. Okay. We're going to start it off on YouTube. We're going to post it next week. Watch out and beware. These are the same kind of stories that I've been doing all along, except it has a little bit more focus with an in-studio host. I want you both to come and host a segment, please.
Oh, definitely.
Put your beautiful faces on camera.
Darling, what do you think?
Are you sure about that?
Absolutely.
Well, you know.
I'm in.
Okay,
I'm in.
I don't care.
This
Beautiful
is your
face,
destiny,
myself
darling.
or not. This is
my destiny.
It's your destiny.
It really is.
Yeah, you heard all the people calling in, so we just got to invite.
This is great, and
Yes,
it's actually on. It's recorded, so you can take your word back.
Well, absolutely. We won't leave the studio until we get it right. So.
And we want to thank you so very much, Archie, for sharing some of your time here. I know you have so many other things going on, but you're a true friend, a blessing. I like that you're from Amityville. I'm from the Ville.
Homeboy, yes.
Homeboy, so we know some mutual people,
Halloween.
Mike James and different people.
Amityville Horror, Halloween.
The Horror House, come on.
But you're a positive role model for so many people, and we're so blessed to have you.
Absolutely. Thank you for all that you do for me in reference to stories. I can think of about 10 of them that you've led me to, and they've all gotten great traction, man. I can't thank you enough for being my mentor.
Oh, there we go.
You and Darlene both.
That's great.
Incredible.
Darlene,
have you seen your appearance on Push Pause? Did you see that? You were fabulous.
I saw my 3 seconds, yes.
3 seconds is more than a lot of people can
No, I did. I loved it. And thank you for that. That was fun. That was a lot of fun.
All right. It's a little double vision here on WGBB 1240 AM. God bless. Go Yankees. We're going to